To Sydney now, where overnight police have confirmed 6 people have been killed and several others remain in a critical condition following the devastating stabbing at a shopping centre yesterday.
Well, New South Wales police in Sydney have identified 40-year-old Joel Couchy as the attacker at Westfield's Bondi Junction.
Well, overnight, Sydney-siders had begun to lay flowers at the Westfield shopping centre as tributes are paid to victims and first responders. Here is New South Wales Premier Chris Minns.
Sydney has suffered a horrifying and violent attack on innocent people who are doing something everybody does on the weekend, and that is going shopping with their family and their friends.
Now, well, let's talk to a reporter for the Sydney Morning Herald, Anthony Segaert, who's... apologies, he was... his line's just gone down. We'll try and get him back because he's outside St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney, where, of course, a number of people still being treated for their injuries. I think we've got him back. Anthony... Yeah. All right, there you go. Good to see you this morning, Anthony. What's the latest on the number of fatalities and, indeed, the progress of those people who've been injured?
Morning, Stephen and Ellie. You're right. 6 people killed, a dozen more injured, a few more of them in hospital. A few people have been released over the last few hours, but those 6 people who were killed, we're learning more about them over the last few hours, including 38-year-old mother Ashley Good. She was seen by witnesses throwing her 9-month-old baby into the hands of strangers at Westfield Shopping Centre at Bondi yesterday. That 9-month-old baby is being held at a separate hospital, a children's hospital close by here. The family say that that child is doing well in the circumstances, but tragically her mother has passed away. We're also heard of the death of a 25-year-old woman who is the daughter of an Australian businesswoman, a businessman here in Australia, and also a security guard, the only male of 6 people killed by this man, who was killed yesterday as he attempted to stop the stabber from moving forward.
What's the reaction been in Australia, Anthony? Because, of course, there must be this massive outpouring of grief for those 6 people who were killed, but also there was such scenes of bravery and courage in that shopping centre yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. It really is sort of surreal that you have this immense tragedy that Australians are really not used to. One of the reasons for that is that Australia has among the strictest gun laws in the world, so we don't often see events of terror like this unfolding on such a scale. But the other reason is that, like you said, there are moments of heroic bravery that we've seen from police, from staff members, and from very brave members of the public inside that shopping centre. Among them is the possibly most brave of all, the policeman who went up and shot the gunman, the shooter. Her name, Amy Scott. She's a detective with the local police. Witnesses say that she said, "Put it down" once before shooting Joel Couchy, that 40-year-old stabber, in the chest. She then commenced CPR on that man alone, as there were no other police around to help her, and he later died at the scene. You heard from the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns before. She's been labelled a hero from everyone from the Prime Minister down today. But there's this other side, these 6 people killed, dozens more injured, and also the fact that it happened at such a public place. Westfield Bondi Junction is one of, if not the busiest shopping centre in Australia. It's huge, over 2 high-rises. Everyone in Sydney has shopped there many times. And the fact that we've spoken with a lot of witnesses here today and family of people that are still in hospital behind me here, they say they just can't believe that it's happened at a place that they went to so often and they always knew was so safe.
What do we know about Joel Couchy? I'm just looking at the Sydney Morning Herald, a piece you've written for the latest edition online. And, I mean, there's an image of this man, you know, on the beach with a surfboard looking like anybody else, really. I mean, this is the shocking thing behind this. So what do we know about this man?
Yeah, a lot of interesting details have emerged, and it is only really 24 hours, almost to the minute after Joel Couchy walked through those doors at Westfield. So all of this information is still new and yet to be processed and investigated properly by police. But we know that he was a 40-year-old originally from Queensland in the northwest of the country. He only came down to Sydney very recently and was living in a storage unit, police say, in the inner city of Sydney. A quick looking of his social media presence online reveals a lot of interesting things that sort of contribute to this wider picture of who he was, including the fact that he was online advertising on escort services, but ones where you sort of solicit sex workers yourselves. He'd also given a whole bunch of reviews for different businesses, including knife shops, where he critiqued different knife owners of these knife businesses for not handling his knives correctly, saying they weren't everyday knives, but special knives. He's also a member of different Facebook groups. He's invited members of the public to go for a swim with him at Bondi, and members of different groups for nudists and singles. But interestingly, police say they're investigating different mental health issues, including schizophrenia, and the fact he used different drugs like methamphetamine and different drugs like that. And they say that of those 6 people killed, it's important to note that 5 of them were women, apart from that security guard. They're investigating a history of abuse towards women.
OK, I mean, as you say, Anthony, a full investigation is underway. You have been speaking to eyewitnesses, haven't you, who were in that shopping centre yesterday as that scene unfolded. We got a sense from videos that we've seen on social media and TikTok of the chaos that was inside the shopping centre. What details can you share with us?
Yeah, it is utter chaos. The stabber was on levels 4 and 5 of that Westfield shopping centre. There's many levels there and many levels of car park below and beneath, which adds to that level of complexity of being across 2 buildings. It's really hard for police to know exactly what was happening in that moment. And so the fact that while it sounds awful, there were only that number of people that were injured and affected by him is in some sense what Health Minister Ryan Park has today described as a miracle. But the chaos there has been seen with videos posted online and social media that show him running around pretty frantically and frenetically through different areas. A few different places in that shopping centre, he's stopped by different people trying to confront him. One man took a bollard from a nearby shop and tried to sort of hurl it at him on the escalators. But a lot of other people have spoken about being trapped inside shops that they closed their doors on in an attempt to lock down. They saw people that were stabbed by that man, and they used clothes on the racks of these shops as tourniquets to try and stem the bleeding. It initially started as a lockdown before quickly moving to an evacuation with sirens going off, and quickly over 6 dozen health and police officers were on scene very quickly to try and address this unfolding situation.